All right, what's going on there, Marky? Got me working out, making sure that I was staying fit. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me on. Excited to come on, talk again, and catch up with you as well.
Man, I'll tell you what, a lot's been going on across the country. It's always crazy, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's easy not to do the right thing when it comes to our own health, right? We get busy, and then the next thing you know, you reach over and you grab those bag of chips, right, Doc?
It's just mindless, right? It's kind of like when you don't even get a notification on your phone and you just grab your phone checking on it. It's like your subconscious is just like, okay, I just am bored. I need to eat something. I need to grab something. Oh, Rick, how's it going, man? And I think you said in the country as a whole, but to me, it's even in the supply chain in the trucking industry, it makes it even more difficult. I mean, every single one of you listening to this have such a strong demand on your day-to-day life that it's so easy to put your health on the back burner.
Right.
And I think it's just been happening for years and years and years, and it's gotten us to not the greatest point in general. And I think it's time for more people to make their health a priority and put themselves higher up on the priority list.
Sir Rick, are you there? Are we just I think, you know what, he's almost scaring me. I'm just going to tell you right now, it's not Halloween yet, so Rick, I think digitally he's frozen, but that's fine. Yeah, absolutely. We forget. We do. We put ourselves on the back burner, right? We do that. We do that all the time. Hey, I'll get to it. I'll do it later, right? I'll get to it later. I'm fine. Hey, so let me ask you. So, supply chain fitness guy, let me ask you seriously, how much is it when you go out and you talk to people? Is it, oh, I didn't know, or I don't have a I don't have a plan? Which of the two is the most that you most see if I was to get asked?
Look, I think everyone watching this is very intelligent, and most people know they need to be eating less Twinkies and more fruits and vegetables, right? Or less Twinkies and more, or Snickers bars from Love's Truck Stop, and more protein bars. And so, something that I always say, and I think it's in the forefront of when we work with carriers and trucking companies in their employees there, is that I think it's less an education gap and more so an accountability gap in why people are not making their health a priority. And that accountability can come from having someone that they can talk to that is holding them accountable, progressing and regressing a plan that's specific to them, and also building a plan, like you just mentioned, that's meeting them where they're at and giving them an actionable starting point that seems realistic and sustainable in their crazy life out on the road, or as a dispatcher or in the warehouse or wherever you work within the supply chain.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, Mark. I mean, I'm not going to run out and immediately just get a plate full of vegetables. I mean,
Yeah.
I just, I mean, I had a big breakfast this morning, but for lunch, you want me to, and I'm going to start today. Let's be honest, I'm not just going to run out and just get, fresh vegetable greens, all green, and eat a big salad, right? I mean, I might do it today, I might do it tomorrow, but I guarantee you by day three, I'm not having this big salad on day three. If you understand what I'm saying.
100%, right? And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong in general, of exactly what you just said there, where it feels as though, okay, I'm going to start a diet, I'm going to make a change to your health, and I'm going to make this 180-degree flip to my whole lifestyle and hold on for dear life. And then I fall off about, 3 days in, a week later, however long you end up doing it. But most people fall back to where they were at on day one, and it ends up internally feeling like they had a failure.
Right.
Right. And so
Right.
the way that we approach it, and exactly what you just said, is I think the better mindset is to not restrict yourself, not say I need to change everything in my diet, but just add one thing in, add something to what you currently are eating. And over time, just continue adding a couple, one extra serving of fruits or vegetables, one extra serving of protein, making a switch instead of the fried chicken, going with a grilled chicken, whatever that is. And over time, when you add things to it, all of a sudden, some of the more unhealthy versions of it end up falling off and getting replaced with those healthier habits.
So, and I look, let's get right down to the nuts and bolts of it. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. There is a definitive need for what you're doing in the industry. of where we're at. I mean,
Yeah.
there is no doubt in my mind that we're as drivers in most of we sit around, but there's a need for what you're doing, and tell us about why there's such a huge need.
Well, I think the one thing, and my background is I was working in a physical therapy clinic as a physical therapist and in watching a bunch of truck drivers. And that's what really threw me down this whole rabbit hole of the trucking industry over 3 years ago now. And the one thing that struck me the hardest when I was digging deeper into the industry was the fact that truck drivers have a life expectancy 16 years less than the average population. Like 16. Yeah, I literally could not even imagine losing almost 2 decades of my life just because of my career choice. And when you add on top of that, the fact that truck drivers have the highest rates of obesity and diabetes compared to any other occupation in the United States, there's
Wow.
just a lot of things that just are a snowball effect that create a culture within the industry and also create this mindset for a lot of drivers that it feels as though this is just part of my job description. This is what I'm signing up for, and there's not it's not worth me even trying for it. And so that is what we're fighting against, is coming and saying, look, your career does not have to define your health, and we can give you actionable help and tips and coaching around your lifestyle anywhere at any time to make your health more of a priority out on the road.
Yeah, and let me just ask you real quick. How if look, we all know there are problems and we face them every day. But if I'm just a simple guy out there, much like a lot of people out on that are listening today, if I want to get in a fit program, what do I need to do really to start something? Right? I don't need to start huge or anything, but what can I do today, Mark, that would make sense for me? I'm just a guy, right? An owner operator. I'm just a guy. What do I do? Or I'm a company guy. What do I do to get started in something?
Yeah, I think you look at your day-to-day life and you think about kind of two factors. Number one, what is the lowest hanging fruit, right? And the other aspect is, what are you most motivated to change? Do you want to go out and be more physically active? Do you want to make some changes to your diet? Whichever one of those, pick just one and then go into that. So if you want to be more physically active, maybe just getting into the habit of right after your pre-trip every morning, you're going to go and do a 5-minute walk, 10-minute walk. Right after you get done driving for the day and you put your truck in park, you're going to do some stretching, or you're going to do an exercise with body weight exercises in the back of your truck. But it can be 5 minutes. That's all you need to do to start, right? And then on the nutrition side of things, it's, maybe start with eating one serving of fruits or vegetables, instead of picking, the Snickers bar, or the Twinkie at Love's, grab some of the apple slices, or grab some of the grapes from there, or grab a healthier option like a protein bar instead. And so I think those types of small changes, where it's not changing what your day-to-day routine looks like, but it's just, instead of going down aisle 3, you're going down aisle 4 and grabbing the healthier option. That is where I think the best starting place is.
I do, and I appreciate that. It is a good idea to start, but I mean, you got to start. You got to take steps, right? You can't do this journey unless you start off at least one
Yeah.
step. Let me ask you a quick question, because I want to get into this, and I'm going to lead this. A lot of our health with obesity and this not movement creates chronic problems, right? It creates chronic health issues over time. It's not something that happens overnight, but it can help lead to diabetes, right? It can help lead to some of these chronic issues that we are facing that help attribute to that loss of life later on in years. Can it speak to that, and what you're intending on doing about these chronic issues?
Yeah, so we are actually now starting to move more into the chronic disease management or prevention side of things. And so focusing on helping drivers who are pre-diabetic, who are so tiptoeing their way towards potentially having type 2 diabetes, people who are type 2 diabetic but not knowing how to manage it on a day-to-day basis, and also hypertension, and also some musculoskeletal aches and pains that people have out on the road. And so what I've recognized was, as I got deeper and deeper into the industry, was, there was these health conditions like diabetes, like like heart disease are really deeply embedded into the trucking industry. And like I mentioned earlier, some of the highest rates from an occupational standpoint. And when you look at it from like a 30,000-foot view, 7 out of every 10 Americans die from a chronic disease, right? And so these things that, when it comes to that 16-year life expectancy, these are the things that are a really large percentage of why that stat even exists. And so if we can get ahead of them, help them manage it or help them prevent it in the first place, I think we really start pushing the needle. And then from an industry standpoint, 86% of all healthcare costs in the United States are directly associated to chronic diseases. So if we can help them manage those conditions, we can really save the industry a lot of money on the healthcare costs.
And I'm just going to ask. I mean, and I'm excited about that you're doing this, because truly, what I believe is that if you're out there and if you're helping drivers be healthier, you're also helping with retention, right? You're also helping to create to solve some of the driver shortage issues that we all talk about, and we all do, because if you make them healthier and you help make them healthier, because I believe it's all of our responsibility, whether it's me, whether it's you, it's all of us trying. If I'm about safety, then I need to be about health and safety, right? I need to be about it all in all aspects. And if we all need to get involved in this health crisis in the industry.
I mean, what you just said there is something that I was on the phone with a new customer of ours that we're starting to roll out our program to later this year, saying the same exact thing. Is they have a health and safety council, right? But oftentimes the only conversation there is the safety aspect of that name. And so what we're looking at is, I think we have an opportunity to really fill in that gap in the health and safety and really create a holistic, whole person safety culture within a company. And when you bring it back to the retention and recruiting side of things, I mean, I look at it as like a push and a pull, right? When you look at failed DOT physicals, the two top reasons from a medical standpoint are uncontrolled diabetes, uncontrolled hypertension, right? Which are all lifestyle based. And if we can help them get ahead of that, we can help them either get handed that 1-year card or potentially even not even a temporary card, get handed a 2-year medical card because it's under control or they prevented it. And then on the other standpoint, this industry is struggling to bring the next generation into it. And as someone who is in that generation, if I'm looking to potentially be a truck driver and I see the facts that if I get into this career, I have on average a 16-year life expectancy than the average population. That's a hard selling point, right? And so I think this generation in general is more health conscious. And if the industry as a whole doesn't bring this forward, talk about it on a consistent basis, and have actionable solutions and how we're going to change it for the next generation, I think we're going to continue to struggle bringing that next generation in. And there's going to be some issues. And I think for a long time, the trucking industry as a whole has just swept it under the rug. And it's just been like this taboo subject that no one wants to talk about. But it's time to change that. And I will be screaming it from the rooftop, and hopefully more people will be as well.
Well, I do appreciate you, Mark. Look, it's important. That's why we bring you on the show. We think it's an issue that continues to need to be talked about. It's an issue that we continue to need to bring into the conversation. And I like the fact that you're talking about it and you're creating that, and you're also creating some definitive solutions for our drivers out there each and every day, because it matters. It matters. If these drivers matter, then their health matters, right? And I'm just saying, if you care about your drivers, then you need to care about their health. And it is not a one-step process. It is all the way or nothing. And I appreciate that. Look, Mark, we're running out of time. I appreciate you coming in. We're going to have you on again soon. Let me know a little bit more about when you jump this other thing off that you're doing. I'm going to bring you back. I'm going to let everybody know what you're doing. But I'm excited about what you're doing out there and helping drivers get a little bit healthier. Before we get out of here, you know what you got to do. You got to state your name, who you're with, and that you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Can you do that, Mark?
Yes, my name is Dr. Mark Manera. I'm the founder of Supply Chain Fitness, and you are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Appreciate it, Mark. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Day.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.